In today's video, I'll be sharing 3 chilling true stories, each one so unsettling they left the storytellers haunted to their core. These are terrifying winter encounters set against the backdrop of freezing winds and relentless snowstorms. From the figure of a stranger standing motionless in a blizzard, to the sound of eerie, inhuman laughter echoing through the white silence, and the mysterious footsteps that lead to a cold, forgotten memorial site. Get ready, because you're about to enter the world of scary stories that are definitely not for the faint of heart. Story 1. Blizzard Strangers and the Nightmare in the Cabin. Hey everyone. Today I want to share with you an experience I'll never forget, a story that happened nearly a decade ago during a trip to the Adirondack Mountains. I had rented a small, isolated cabin deep in the woods, perfect for skiing and hiking. What was supposed to be a peaceful winter getaway quickly turned into one of the most terrifying nights of my life. It all started on a day when a brutal snowstorm rolled in. I woke up to loud, frantic knocking on the front door. Looking out from my bedroom window, I saw the world covered in white, the wind howling through the trees. Standing outside was a woman in a heavy parka, her face red from the cold, her expression full of fear. She begged to come in just until the storm passed. Without thinking too much, I let her in. She introduced herself as Meredith, a middle-aged woman who said she was renting an Airbnb nearby and got stranded in the blizzard. I offered her coffee, but she declined, said she was too exhausted and just needed to rest. I let her sit on the couch by the heater and retreated to my room, trying to shake off the tension by watching TV. The wind whistled through the cabin windows, sounding almost like voices whispering through the forest. Not long after, another knock. This time it was a man. He introduced himself as Mark, claiming he too had been caught in the storm and needed shelter. I hesitated, but again I let him in. He and Meredith greeted each other like old friends. They laughed, they chatted. But something about the way they looked at me, a coldness in their eyes, made my stomach turn. The rest of the day passed in strained silence. That night I gave them blankets and set them up to sleep on the couch. I told myself I'd done the right thing, helped people in need. But sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up to a loud noise. My bedroom door was wide open. Freezing air swept into the room. I got up and realized the main door of the cabin was also open. Meredith and Mark were gone. Panicked, I rushed outside barefoot, and there she was. Meredith standing in the snow holding my luggage. But her face, it had changed. Gone was the look of panic. In its place was a sly, knowing smile and eyes like shards of ice. I shouted at her to stop. I ran back inside to grab my coat and boots, and the door slammed shut behind me. Footsteps echoed from within the cabin. I wasn't alone. I didn't dare open the door again. When I finally made it back out to the porch, Meredith wasn't alone anymore. Another man stood beside her, someone I'd never seen before. He took her hand. Both of them stared silently back at the cabin. At me. I didn't care about the bag anymore. I just wanted to get out. I jumped into my car, floored the gas, and drove through the thick snow, barely able to see, not daring to look back. To this day, I don't know what their plan was, or how many of them there actually were. All I know is, I was too kind to the wrong people. And that night, it almost cost me my life. Let this be a warning. Kindness isn't weakness, but caution is survival. Especially when you're alone in the heart of a snowstorm. Story 2. The Darkness in the Snow. A terrifying game of hide and seek. After that nightmare in the stormy cabin, my brother and I tried to reclaim the last few days of winter with something simple. A game of hide and seek in the snowy woods behind our home. Armed with flashlights and wrapped in layers of clothing, we started playing under a frozen night sky. Snow blanketed the world in silence so thick and still, it felt like sound itself had been swallowed. I was chosen to hide first. I ran into the forest, trying to find a good spot, my breath visible in the freezing air. I clicked off my flashlight, and darkness immediately swallowed everything. I tried to brush away my footprints in the snow, but I knew it was impossible to erase them completely. From a distance, I could still see the soft flicker of my brother's flashlight. But then, I noticed something odd. Another set of footprints. Fresh ones. Not from where I had come, and not heading toward me, but deeper into the woods. At first, I thought they were his, but the shape and stride were different. Larger, heavier. Not his. A strange chill crept through me, one that had nothing to do with the cold, but curiosity overrode fear. I decided to follow the tracks, hoping to find my brother, or at least figure out who or what was walking through the forest with us. The farther I went, the quieter it got. The wind had stopped. My steps crunched louder in the snow. Then, the smell hit me, a thick, nauseating stench of rot and decay. I turned the corner and froze. There, half buried in the snow, was a large black garbage bag, bloated, torn, and reeking of death. My pulse pounded in my ears. I crouched down, heart racing, and slowly peeled the bag open with trembling fingers. Inside, a human body, or what was left of it. It was already decaying, skin, bloated limbs, stiff face, unrecognizable. I stumbled back, gagging, barely able to keep my footing. I called out for my brother, but only the wind answered. Then I saw it, his flashlight lying in the snow a few yards away, still shining. And beyond it, a figure, still, watching me, half hidden behind the trees. I didn't wait to see who it was. I turned and ran faster than I ever had in my life, until I burst through the back door of our house, gasping for air and shaking uncontrollably. My parents called the police immediately. They searched the area for hours. The body was gone. So were the tracks. So was the figure. Nothing. To this day, I don't know what I saw in those woods, or who was out there with us that night. But I do know this someone was hunting. And if we had stayed a few minutes longer, we might never have come back. I've never stepped foot in those woods again, and I never will. Story 3. The Haunting Laugh in the Snow. A Journey to the Mysterious Cross. That winter, after the horrifying night I discovered a decaying body in the woods, I thought nothing could scare me more. But I was wrong. One night in late January, with snow blanketing every rooftop and the sky heavy with gray, I tried going to bed early to escape the lingering anxiety. I turned off the lights, lay down, and forced myself to sleep. Then suddenly, bang, a sharp knock echoed from my bedroom window. Not loud, but unmistakable. My heart jumped. I sat up and pulled the curtain aside just in time to hear a child's laugh. Light and innocent, yet ringing through the dead silence of a snowy night like a blade of cold steel through the spine. I saw no one outside. The snow continued to fall gently, the wind whispering past the window frame like ghostly voices. I closed the window and tried to convince myself it was just in my head. But the next night, it happened again. This time the laugh was louder, clearer, closer. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my coat and flashlight and stepped outside into the freezing night. In the dim yellow beam of my flashlight, I saw small footprints in the snow, clearly those of a child. They started right beneath my window, crossed the yard, and led toward the wooded path behind my house. I followed them, quietly, carefully. The footprints guided me through the trees until I reached an old sycamore tree, tall and bare in the white snow. At its base were two weathered white wreaths and a small wooden cross, a makeshift memorial. The snow around it was fresh, untouched, except for the tiny footprints that stopped right in front of the cross. No prints going back, no other signs of life, just wind and snow. I stood frozen. My breath caught not from the cold, but from the presence I felt all around me, unseen, but deeply real. The next morning, I asked some longtime locals about the tree. One elderly woman nodded solemnly and said, "That tree. A few years ago, there was a terrible car accident there. A mother and her young son died on the spot. That cross has been there ever since." I didn't respond, but starting that night around 2 or 3 a.m., I began to hear the laughter again. Not every night, but often enough that I couldn't sleep. Sometimes I even heard the sound of tiny feet running circles around the house, as if someone were playing hide and seek. Eventually, I turned to sleeping pills. But even in dreams, the laugh found me echoing like the voice of a restless soul. And now I ask myself, did it really come from outside? Or did it start living inside me the moment I stood beneath that sycamore tree? Thank you for watching until the end of the video. These 3 stories aren't just chilling experiences, they serve as a stark reminder to stay alert and trust your instincts when facing the unexplainable. If you enjoy scary stories like these, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next terrifying tale. And if you have your own horrifying experience to share, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. See you in the next video, where the line between reality and the unknown is always razor thin.